Well, if you've been staying connected to us here at BronxNet and Open over the last couple of weeks, we've been covering the latest details in the MTA's new Bronx bus network redesign plans. Well, recently Riverdale residents held an urgent town hall meeting to share their opinions on the MTA's Bronx bus redesigns, as well as the fight against proposed express bus service cuts. Our BronxNet reporter Arlene Makoko brings us the story.
Close to 300 Bronx residents gathered here at Riverdale Temple have an opinion on the MTA's new Bronx bus network redesign final plan that, among other things, will mean cuts to service on the BXM 1, 2, 3, and 18 to and from Manhattan due to low ridership during off-peak hours.
It'll be a severe hardship on the people that have settled here in Riverdale for the convenience of getting into Midtown Manhattan. That's one of the reasons why I came here 30 years ago.
And Jeff Gordon is not alone.
I'm very concerned about the bus service stopping or becoming less efficient for me because I use it very often.
Francine Skurnick, who lives in Riverdale, also says the plan will affect her ability to remain mobile and connected.
I go to the ballet, I go to the opera, I go to the Philharmonic.
We'll continue to work with the community in order to find the best solution for everyone's transportation needs. So while it's a final, it's not quite a final, and we're here to convey that message.
Hosted by New York City Councilmember Andrew Cohen and New York State Assemblymember Jeffrey Dinowitz, who invited leaders from neighboring districts affected. The meeting comes after their sit-down with the MTA's Andy Byford, president of the New York City Transit Authority, with their aim to bring the plan to end all off-peak service beginning at 3 p.m. in Riverdale to the public.
There won't be any way to use an express bus to go downtown starting at that hour for the rest of the day. And that really strands a lot of people.
With the oncoming of congestion pricing, and then for us to lose express bus, it's like a double whammy.
On average, the customers in the off-peak, there's about 4 people on a bus that seats 57.
Jessica Signorella, manager of bus service planning, was joined by Craig Cipriano, acting senior VP with New York City Transit, and Chief Officer of Operations Planning, Mark Holmes.
To cut off southbound at 3 o'clock is cruel and totally unacceptable.
Health was another issue raised. This resident shared he works at Mount Sinai and collected data on their number of hospital visits from 2016 to 2018 from zip codes 10463 and 71 that make up this area as 6,000.
Of those 6,000 unique individuals, they have 40,000 appointments.
As you heard here tonight, almost no support for the MTA's plan as it stands right now. They did say that their plan, however, tonight is not final, and they do appreciate hearing from those here in the Riverdale community. For BronxNet, this is Arlene Makoko.
All right, thank you, Arlene. New York State Division of Budget released its mid-year report detailing a $6.1 billion gap in the state's finances for next year. Assembly Democrats are discussing ways of closing that gap with new revenue resources, and that includes potentially a tax increase. Now, over half of that deficit accounts for the state's Medicaid program, calculated at $4 billion. Democratic State Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie stated, quote, "So when there's a concern about having enough money, the two options always are, do you cut spending or do you raise revenue? For us in the Assembly, we always believe in raising revenue. But critics like Bill Hammond of the Empire Center for Public Policy claim New York City's Medicaid deficit doesn't come from a shortage of revenue, but rather an excess of spending. The state Senate Democrats spokesperson says the matter will be discussed next week during the conference's annual retreat in Albany. Well, in other news, BronxNet reporter Jericho Tran attended the Bronx Borough President's celebration of Puerto Rican heritage at Shanghai Red. She spoke with some of the honorees who were chosen based on their contribution to the growth and promotion of the community of culture. Well, we're taking a look at that event right now.
We're at Shanghai Red with Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. to celebrate National Puerto Rican Heritage Month. President Diaz, thank you so much for being here with us today. Can you tell me a little bit about tonight's event?
Well, this is us celebrating all the great things that it means to be Puerto Rican, what the Puerto Rican contribution to New York City, here in the Bronx, and certainly recognizing individuals like Maria Roman, Dr. Rodriguez, and Sean Pecas.
Food, drinks, and music created the ambiance for the borough president's celebration of Puerto Rican heritage. President Diaz honored friend and surgeon Dr. Jose Rodriguez.
And he's a great family guy, and he's been there for our men and women in the military, and he's also served this great country. You're going to hear a lot about him. We love him. Thank you. And I love his haircut.
It matches yours.
In the end, I'm a kid from the Bronx, and if the place that I came from recognizes me for whatever reason, it is a deep honor, and I'm humbled.
One of the honorees for the night and former president of the Puerto Rican Day Parade, Maria Roman Duman, elaborated on the importance of Puerto Rican Heritage Month, which takes place in November.
November has been known to be the month that we celebrate la cultura puertorriqueña, Puerto Rican culture, preserving it, promoting it. This is the month to do it. And I am so happy that the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., has put together this event to recognize the importance of this culture.
Former Rock Nation EVP and president of the Women's Football League, Sean Pecas-Costner, reminded attendees that while celebrating Puerto Rican heritage was important, there is still work that needs to be done in Puerto Rico.
I know a lot of people initially came up to help Puerto Rico during Hurricane Maria. I know I was one, and our company, Jay-Z, Fat Joe, Angie Martinez, they did a lot, but I think what's important is that we can't forget that I think we have to still go back. There's still a lot of work to be done, and I think that this is why this is very important, what we're doing today.
Reporting for BronxNet, Jericho Tran.
And thank you, Jericho. In educational news, a new study shows New York spends more on its public school students than any other state, yet it has the lowest graduation rates in the nation. New York spent more than $23,000 per public and secondary school students in 2017, yet only having an 81.8% graduation rate. New York State's poor graduation rate was higher than 11 other states. Now, the state that spent more than $63 billion on its students, about $16,000 per student on instruction, that's more than $6,000 per student on support services, but only saw average academic performance rates. In other news, Bronx UFT is partnering up with Census 2020, making sure all Bronx residents get counted for. Our BronxNet reporter Arlene Makoko has that story, and she brings it to us now.
Census 2020 has a new ally making sure all Bronx residents get counted.
We have lost billions and billions of dollars because we've not been counted.
With 20,000 UFT members working in the Bronx at over 300 public schools, teachers and all those assisting Bronx students in achieving their educational goals will play a pivotal role, says Margaret Borelli, who opened her offices for a meeting.
As educators, we're part of the communities, we live and work in the communities, and we need to just make sure people understand that 2020 is a census year and we need to be counted.
Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. also spoke to participating teachers that included Dr. Joyce Bloom, a lifelong Bronx resident, who says she sees this as an opportunity to help schools and other programs thrive. While cameras weren't allowed in the closed-door meeting, teachers here were able to share what they heard.
They're saying that the census is very important to get out the vote because a lot of people don't register, and then we're underfunded federally and I suppose trickle down in other ways too, and it's important that we serve our people.
We are the highest federally taxed state, and we're not getting all of our money back. We're losing, billions of dollars.
Part of their day-to-day work is engaging students and often parents. Educators hope this trust already in place will diminish fears about the census and be an opportunity to share the impact they can make by participating. Matt Ravik, who has been a counselor for 13 years here in the Bronx, shared he discussed the possibility of competing and collaborating with other boroughs to see who can get the highest count.
The other issue is to just explain to people who might be afraid to fill out the census, that is nothing to be afraid of, and it's important to do.
Census 2020 begins March 23rd through July. For more information, go to census.gov. For BronxNet, this is Arlene Makoko.
And thank you, Arlene. The census is important for providing the basis for reapportioning congressional seats, also redistricting and distributing more than $670 billion in federal funds annually to support states, counties, and communities' vital programs that are impacting housing, education, transportation, employment, healthcare, and public policy. Now, if you need more information on the census, you can visit census.gov. Well, that's all the time we have for Bronx Updates. We are taking a quick break. We do have more open coming up right after this.